These are 7 epic thrashings, each with its unique story of triumph or agony, reminding us of the beautiful, unpredictable, and sometimes bewildering nature of the sport. From the glorious highs to the crushing lows, these unforgettable matches have left a lasting mark on the hearts of football enthusiasts worldwide. This was only the greatest performance in an European final since 1960, perhaps ever. Boring Milan were devastating in attack and took an excellent Barcelona side to the cleaners. Milan's 1993-94 season, for so long a strange mix of success and criticism, will now be remembered for this glorious exhibition. These were the poorest Milan of the Berlusconi era. Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten and Frank Rijkaard had gone. The team were without 2 of the back 4, Costa Curta and Franco Baresi. The best players that day were Paolo Maldini and Daniele Massaro. No one doubted Barcelona would win the final. Least of all Barcelona. The dream team was a revolution with stars like Romario, Stoichkov, Guardiola, so was Cruyff. Stoichkov and Romario were the US World Cup's outstanding players. Their club suffered for their country's success. Romario was laid back, snapping. Cruyff didn't win the World Cup. I did. Stoichkov, his best friend, felt like he was held responsible for the Brazilian. The friendship became strained. Milan smothered the Barcelona midfield. The Zaid dominated. Demetrio Albertini created. Guardiola couldn't settle. Barcelona couldn't bring the ball. Romario never saw it, nor did Stoichkov. It was not that we played badly, Cruyff said afterwards. It was that we did not play at all. Fabio Capello's team won their 5th European Cup in style, destroying Barcelona with an awesome victory by 4-0. In March 2017, Barcelona made Champions League history by becoming the first team to overturn a first leg 4-0 deficit, as they knocked out PSG by 6-1 to reach the quarterfinals for the 10th successive season. The Spanish champions were 5-3 down on aggregate in the 88th minute, but scored 3 goals in the final 7 minutes in one of the greatest European ties of all time. Neymar was brilliant throughout. He skillfully curved a free kick into the net and successfully converted a penalty, while Barcelona appeared disheartened and on the verge of defeat. Then, with time slipping away and the clock on red, he clipped a superb ball into the box for Sergi Roberto to toe into the net and send his team into the quarterfinals. In November 2010, Barcelona replaced Real Madrid at the top of La Liga with a 5-2 rout of their greatest rivals at Camp Nou. José Mourinho's team arrived in Catalonia on the back of 7 straight league victories, and with expectations soaring, they left humbled with their pride in tatters. For Mourinho, it was the worst defeat of his career in management. His previously unbeaten team were dominated by a masterful Barcelona performance. Pep Guardiola's side had the monopoly on possession and inspiration, and ultimately reduced the visiting Galacticos to a disjointed and disorganized force could barely string a pass together. We played very badly and they were fantastic. We gifted them 2 goals that were bordering on the ridiculous. It is our own fault, Mourinho said after the game. And when we remember Sir Alex Ferguson, we remember one of the greatest coaches of all time, a man who came and piled up titles, transforming Manchester United and changing the future of the club forever. But sometimes we forget that Fergie wasn't perfect. Football is a complicated business, and even he, like many other coaches, faced humiliation. It happened in 2011 when Manchester United hosted Manchester City for a Premier League match. In the previous season, United had won the Premier League a whole 9 points ahead of their city rivals. But teams arrived at this game undefeated in the league. Manchester City opened the scoring with Balotelli, and it became a famous game due to his shirt celebration. The City went on to win 6-1 at Manchester United's home ground. Just to put it into perspective, this 6-1 defeat was Manchester United's worst home loss since 1955. It was crazy because at that time, Manchester City was strong but far from the powerhouse it is today. So obviously nobody expected a 6-1 result. What was even crazier was when Edin Dzeko, who used to play for City at the time, scored the 6th goal for City and mocked the Red Devils fans by gesturing 6 with his hand. To finish, that game turned out to be crucial in the title race because that was the year Manchester City won the Premier League literally in the last moments with Aguero's unforgettable goal. They ended up tied on points with Manchester United, but won on goal difference, helped by the 6-1 thrashing of their direct rivals. And the most curious part is that in the same season of 2011, Manchester United had caused one of the biggest thrashings in the English football history. It was in the 3rd round of the Premier League when Arsenal visited Manchester United. Both teams fielded the best players that day, and yes, Manchester United thrashed the Arsenal 8-2. Every shot they took it seemed to go in. It was the biggest defeat for Arsenal in the league since 1925 and the first time they had conceded 8 goals since 1896. It was a historic and humiliating loss. Now, let's talk about the rivalry between Arsenal and Tottenham, one of the biggest in London and England. In recent decades, Arsenal had been superior to Tottenham. However, in the 2015-16 season, something strange happened. Tottenham was getting stronger in recent years. Many other top Premier League teams were going through transitions and tough seasons. That year, Leicester City emerged as a surprise champion in 2016, but Tottenham became the main contender for the English title. However, some late stumbles allowed Leicester to secure the title, and Tottenham lost out. But what's interesting is that in the final game of that season, Tottenham only needed a victory against a relegated Newcastle team to finish ahead of Arsenal in the table for the first time in 21 years, since 1995. This was a significant rivalry and a matter of pride. In the 67th minute, the Newcastle player Mitrovic received a red card, but the Magpies secured a resounding 5-1 victory. This was only the second time in Premier League history that a team both scored 5+ goals and picked up a red card in a single game. That defeat for Spurs, coupled with Arsenal's 4-0 win over Aston Villa, meant that Mauricio Pochettino's men ended their season below their North London rivals. Lastly, there is the infamous 7-1 defeat of Brazil by Germany in the 2014 World Cup. It wasn't just the scoreline, it was the fact that Brazil suffered this humiliation on home soil at the Mineirão Stadium. Brazil had the chance to reach the final and potentially win the World Cup, but instead they experienced one of the most devastating defeats in football history. So these are 7 historic and humiliating thrashings that we will still remember today.